Isn't the idea of weeds on your lawn like kinda a social construct? My lawn is currently spotted all over with dandelions. Many would call them weeds. I call them attractive to bees. Our no lawns is where you need to be. Where I live, tomatoes pop up all over the place, and many people consider they are weeds and pull them out as long as the plant is not poisonous and does not go rampantly wild to the point of choking out everything else. Then it's all a personal choice what you call a weed or not. I let them grow. The bees keep us alive, so we need to keep them alive. The entire idea of a lawn is a social construct. Like, there's a special part of your property that is going to be made up of grass. Why grass? Because grass has no value, and the peasants used to rip it up, so more useful, usually edible things would grow. It also requires an astounding amount of almost continuous maintenance, so intentionally growing a big area of grass is a financial flex. Why only a part of your property? Because grass is expensive and useless, so clearly no one would want it covering their entire property. Why is it ideal not to have any weeds? Because weeds are useful, thus defeating the point of having an area devoted to expensive uselessness. Then fertilizer comes along, and it's no longer good enough to grow a useless area of grass. You have to put even more money into it by fertilizing it, so it's 2 shades greener, which also makes it grow faster and need more mowing, and makes the lawn even more ideal for weeds, requiring more money spent there. It is literally 100, start to finish, a social construct, so the wealthy can show off that they are wealthy enough to devote a portion of their time, water, money, and energy to growing a useless square of unnaturally green grass. Don't give in. Go with your eye for the beautiful. Depends on the weeds and what you use your lawn for. Most weeds are wildflowers. Not all weeds are equal. In Australia we have this one that we call a 3-corner jack, and these weeds are cunts. Look them up and you'll see why. The only difference between a flower and a weed is judgment. It all depends on the weeds. If it's pretty flowered ground cover that helps the bees, good. If it's something like privet that should be destroyed off the face of the earth. Yes and no. Native plants are great. Invasive species which are common in many lawns should be killed. Turning your lawn into a wild native pollinator habitat is a great alternative to a lawn. But it still needs to be weeded because of invasive species that will throw the whole system out of whack. At 24, I was gardening with my mom in my first real adult home. I asked my mom, "Is this a weed?" She looks at it and said, "Do you like it?" I said, "Yay, I do." She said, "Then no, it's not. Weeds are only weeds if you don't like them." And I've lived by that. So yay. Societal construct. Lawns themselves are a societal construct. They are an unnecessary adornment copied from the aristocracy of old. I've lost this fight with everyone in my family for 40 years. Cut it, but let whatever grows there grow. As a kid, my parents disagreed. As an adult, my wife disagrees. Either way, I've ended up on fucking lawn care duty. You're right. Although in some context, weeds means invasive species. For example, folks who do conservation work often say weed is shorthand for non-native plants, especially invasive ones. Check out Bringing Nature Home by Douglas Tallamy. It depends on where you live. My parents' rural yard was very biodiverse. My small town neighbors frown on dandelions, but aren't too upset about most other plants. But I've walked through other neighborhoods where I've seen people out on their hands and knees making sure every blade of their perfect monoculture lawns is perfect. You are under no obligation to hate weeds. Our lawns is a place you belong.